Hey, hey, hey. It's 10:47 here in New Orleans, so it's late. But we have followers, a lot of my subscribers on YouTube or around the world. So we have somebody from Russia, we have people from Australia and Canada. So their time differences are very different than ours. So a couple of people are looking into Capture One for their raw processing, and they had some really basic, simple questions. And I was like, maybe I should do a live and kind of walk through the extreme basics. Um, so I thought I would do that. So look, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments so I can read them. And let's just kind of go from there and pretend you're replaying this stream later. So, all right, I'm gonna get my face off of here. Okay, what I wanted to show you was this. If you are not working with an external drive that is SSD, like your flash drive, there's no moving, spinning drives. This little guy right here, Samsung T7, this is it. This is a 1 terabyte drive. It's SSD, and it writes as fast, almost as fast as the internal drive here on the Mac. Not that fast because it's probably rated at a little over 2,000 read, I believe, 3,000 write. This is at 1,050, I believe, write and read, something like that. I do have some NVID, PCI, the new flash, PCI. Yeah, I'll show you that whole other thing. Crazy fast. But this thing is connected to my computer. You see my little Velcro on the back? That's because on my case to my laptop, I have the other piece of Velcro, and it just stays on my laptop. And I just have a little piece of Velcro that I put this closer, and it's all nice and neat and tidy. And I always have my external drive on me. This drive is what I dump to for my RAWs, and I will actually work from this drive because it's fast enough. And I love that. I just got a brand new M1 MacBook Pro with 32 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte SSD hard drive. Um, Huge difference on speed on reading. So I can work from this. Okay. So I call this my T7. Look at Rob. How you doing? What time is it by you, Rob? I was just telling everybody how we have people from all around the world. Okay, so we're talking about Capture One. Let me go get my mug off of here. And what happened? Dooby dooby doo. Okay. Yeah, you guys are seeing it now. Okay. So first things first. Let's go right over here where it says library. Scroll down to where you see system folders. This is your hard drive. The T7 is that little SSD external drive I just showed you. Okay. I have a folder that's just called RAWs to develop. And if you're wondering why I have 2A written here, that should be 1A, honestly, is because when there's multiple folders on my drive, I want that RAWs to delete folder to be at the very top. And computers put things in numerical order, starting with numbers, then letters. And that's the only reason why I have 2A there. So it keeps this folder on the top of the rest. I just cleaned up my drive. I had like 30 folders coming down, and it's taken me like a week to finally get things off, developed, moved, burned on the server, get it off of this drive. It takes time, but we're here now. And let's go to, so these are just regular folders that I have on that external drive. So instead of doing it the slow way, we even in Lightroom, if you want to put your card in and you import through Capture One, it takes much, much longer because it does more in the background rather than just dropping and dragging your SD card folder to your external drive. Rename that folder on your external. Here you go. Okay. Now, something very simple that I like about my little workflow right here. You can right click, or on a Mac, you can do your two fingers on the pad. Okay. And right here it says add to favorites. Okay. When you make that a favorite folder, it puts it ironically in the session favorites, which is great. So what I have been doing is clients that I have not developed yet. I have not converted them from RAWs to JPEGs. I will put them as favorites. That way I know immediately by looking at my favorites, these have to get done. Okay. So I just did this one tonight. Okay. So I want it out of my session folders. Do the same thing, right click or do your two fingers on the iPad, remove from favorites. Okay. So that removes it from the favorites, but it's still here. It's just not favorited. Okay. So nothing is happening to my actual folders, but my workflow is very clean. All right. Um, so here's your normal folder, and you're looking at your stuff. So when you hit G for grid, and then right up here, top right, you can change your thumbnail size. So if you want to go through a job and see what is um, what I normally do is I will 5-star my favorites. See, when I come over here, if I go none, I actually took 731 images on this session. I will go through this and go ahead and star the favorites that I need. Now, before we get into messing with images, something very simple right here next to the tutorial play button thingy. See this guy right here, edited selected? This means multiple images. That means one turned off. If you turn it on, watch. I'm gonna make this guy just to show you black and white. Okay. Now, when you want to apply that setting to these other images, okay, what I need you to do on a Mac is Shift Command C. Click on another one, Shift Command V. Yeah. Okay. So now you can click that, hold your Shift key down for how many of do you want to do the exact same thing to. Hit Shift Command V for paste. Boom. Pretty cool, right? You can also hit Control Z to undo and undo. Isn't that cool? That's the coolest thing ever. All right, so let me get out of this. Rob, how are you, sir? Check out Rob's channel. Rattle down under, and yes, the boy is in Australia. He has some beautiful views. I'm always enjoying his videos. Um, so back on here. So Rob, question to you. You got your camera. You shooting RAW or you only shooting JPEG? I want you to get used to shooting your camera in general, but the major control with your imagery will come from your RAW because I can do more things to make my images pop compared to the JPEG that's in the camera and you're done. You can tweak a JPEG in Capture One, but you don't have the full leniency like you do a RAW. A third, maybe. Just started shooting RAW, but cool. Are you considering Capture One? Because this is like perfect timing for you. Um, all right, so let me get my face off of here and get you guys back to seeing this. Let me get this banner off of here. I'm sorry, y'all. Banner. This thing's called a banner. Sorry. Didn't realize I was still on. Okay. So let's look at the simple stuff. All right, so back to Capture One Pro. On my end now, I'm full screen for me. So when you hit G again, it comes to this view. Okay, so you have your thumbnails over here, and you've got your major image over here. If you have a small screen and you need to see this image, do I have a horizontal somewhere? Say you wanted to see this image completely full screen, just hit the letter F as in Frank. That's your full screen. Hit the letter F as in Frank again, and you're back to this. Something the new Capture One is doing is closing the screen down on me until my mouse goes over there. I was really hating that in the beginning, but I'm kind of used to it now because with this being out the way, I'm getting just about a full screen image without going to full screen, which is nice. And if you need to, you can drag this over. If you want to see more thumbnails instead of your major preview, you can definitely do that. We're editing, so we want to see this. Okay, so again, really quick, let's remember we already copied the setting for black and white. It's still in the memory. So if I do Shift Command V, this can do it again. Boom. Okay, now check this out. If this right here is turned off, if it's not lit up, when you go to highlight all these images and you hit Command V, Shift Command V, it only does it to one, not all of them, because you don't have this turned on multiple images. Okay, if I turn that on multiple images and without doing anything, just Shift Command V for paste, it'll do it all that I selected. Isn't that cool? So let me show you something. This is what I mean. Okay. So this is the same image as the next image, but this one I worked on. All right. So when I did all my little tweaks, raise my exposure a pinch, bring my highlights down. So instead of it being super bright, I can bring the whites down and the skies down. My shadow area, which is all the little, like the midtones, brought that up. And for clarity, I like it on classic, bring it up a pinch. And then your sharpness, you don't really have to go up a whole lot because if you're shooting Fuji, you know what I'm talking about. These files are sharp. Okay, so you're looking at this one, you're like, I don't want to do these levers for every single image that looks like this. Go to your G, press G for your grid. Click on the image that you want to copy the settings from. Do your Shift Command C. You copy those settings. Now, click that image. Hold your Shift key down. Where do you want it to stop? And you're like, no, I want to do more than those. So, okay. Hold your Command key down. Click, 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 click. All right. So all of those look like they could use the same tweak, Now, paste. Shift Command V for Victor. Boom. And if you notice, it even copied the crop, which is super, super duper helpful. Isn't that cool? So that is like redonkulous. So I'm going to minimize my screen really quick so I can see you guys. So that being said, was there anything in particular you wanted to see off the bat? Because the basics are so important for just getting around. After a couple of days, a couple of weeks of messing around with this software, it's like anything else. It becomes the back of your hand. I can work extremely fast. But let me show you one more thing that it's late. I'm not talking loud, and apparently I need some water. This is my workflow. That's huge. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it, buddy. Let me show you this. So when I have a wedding client, okay, better yet, when I have a regular client of mine who has a portrait session, okay, or even for yourself, you know how you want to take your raw files and make them large JPEGs, so they're full resolution, okay? But if you want to put them on social media, you don't need them that big. In fact, my personal website, gkphotography.com, when I upload an image, it can't be the full size. It just won't take it. So it needs to be like a 4x6 at like 250. This is so cool. You ready for this? All right, hold on. I'm going to show you my workflow. This is what I do every single day. So let's say I go through this and I'm like, okay, these are wonderful. Command A for select all. And I'm going to go to these arrows right here. This is import, which I never do, honestly, because it's too slow. This is export. This is how you convert your RAWs to a JPEG file. Click that. What Capture One has compared to Lightroom, they just call them recipes. And there's some generic ones that are in here already, but you can create your own recipe by doing this. Click the little three dots up here. You do add recipe, new recipe. So what that does is when you click that, you're gonna have these here. Let me see if I can just do it real quick. New recipe. Okay, so the first thing it wants you to do is name it. So what are we doing? Let's just do super duper small web. Okay. You needed a super duper small web size image. Now you come down here. You've already named it, so you can tab, so it's there. Um, Now you're going to come to the location. So the first thing you want to do is tell it when you export, where are these images going? Okay. The session default, I get confused all the time on what the default is. So I always make sure it's same as original file. Dear Lord, this is huge. That means that the raw folder that we're in right now, my client's raw folder, when I tell it same as original file, okay, and we're going to name it, we're going to call it super duper small web, okay, it's going to create that folder inside the raw folder because that's what we're in. So same as original file. Isn't that cool? So I stay organized. Everything stays in my client folders on my external drive. So when I copy paste to my server drive, I'm not hunting for multiple folders. It's all in the same folder. Um, so we named it, right? We told it where it's going to go. Now come down to format and size. I don't need TIFF. I need JPEGs. Okay. Quality all the way. Sure. So where this is where you can, is it the long edge, the width? I forget which one this is. Hold on, let me see something. Let me go to my 8x10. I go by long edge. Okay, so so my clients can buy their digital images printable up to 8x10 size. So everything I just showed you, I did. Same as the original file, print up to 8x10, that's the name of the folder. We're not renaming. I have it quantity down here. 250 is fine. Then I tell it long edge 10. The reason why I do that is because by telling it only, based on the long edge, basically, in other words, you want the width to be at least 10. Whether your image is vertical or horizontal, it'll make the same adjustment for you. Isn't that cool? All right. Now, respect the crop, meaning if I cropped it, if I did a crop on here, if I went in like this, when you say respect the crop, that means it'll export the cropped version of what you did instead of the entire file. Isn't that cool? Okay. Um, no output sharpening because we already did all those little settings. You can put your copyright information on there, your GPS, which I don't really need that, camera, metadata. Um, this is more or less for me. All other metadata, I just leave that checked. And that's it. So this is what it's going to do. It's going to make you an 8x10 size. Um, we're going to stick to the name, blah, 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 JPEG, yada, yada, yada. Click go. Boom. All right. So once you go, let me go over here. Okay. So you see that bent family? This is the folder we're in right now. It did not have a pull down folder before because it was the only images in there, just the raws were in there. Well, now that we exported, look at that. This is my large JPEG folder. This is my main folder, that's what I call it. And then I have a Facebook export, GK website. That's for me. When I decide to use any of these images on my website, this is the size that it needs. It's a recipe. I'm not juggling, wasting time all day long. Print up to 8x10. So my brides that are getting the full size images, that's the image folder that they copy. And my regular portrait clients can purchase images printable up to 8x10 or full size for two different prices, obviously. But that folder is all they need. Now, when I tell you this is what I do every single day, this is my workflow. So let me see if I can share. Hold on, you guys. I'm gonna see about Let me see if I can show you. Not that it really matters, but Gallagher Tanny, how you doing? Oh God, Daniel is in the house. Sleep, George. I know. I've been working all day. Of course, I got to do a live stream, and I sound like Barry White. Um, bro, it's midnight. It's 11:13 my time. You need to be in bed. Your pop-up screens aren't appearing on the stream. Okay, you should see everything right now. I had an issue a second ago where I had it turned off by accident. I didn't even realize it. I haven't done a live in like a month. In about a month. So that being said, let me show you how to mess with an image real quick. Basics, basics, basics. Hold on, sorry. Okay. So hit your G. So you're looking at this. Let's go to another album. These are my raw. This is like all of my clients. Okay, why not? These guys were awesome. Okay, let me show you something here. There's a spin move she did at the end. I don't know which one looks the best. Let's go with this. All right, and let me show you something. Up on the top where you see adjustments, when I click reset, this is basically the JPEG out of the camera. Okay, this is the difference of shooting JPEG compared to what you can do in RAW. Now, with a JPEG file, you can tweak a little bit, but you do not have this kind of leniency. Okay, having the ability to make this kind of color contrast adjustments is why photographers love RAW. Um, you know, I can do so many things with this, but just for the basics, let me show you something. Back to the very beginning. Okay, so when you come over here on the top, the little three circle thingies, this is where I have exposure, white balance, high dynamic range, which is really your highlights and your shadows. I don't really, well, the blacks I do work with. I don't do a whole lot with whites. And your clarity if you need it. So if you got some softer images, you can crank up the sharpness a little bit. Okay. Now, let's do this. You can come right here, the little magic wand, see what Capture One does for you first. Click that, and you can come down by the pull down bar and see what is checked. So when you hit the magic wand, the things that are checked is what it'll do automatically for you. So I have white balance, exposure, contrast and brightness, high dynamic range, and levels. I'm not worried about rotation and keystone. Um, so that gets me very close. Okay. Now I find I like to see more here. So I'm going to come to my shadows first, raise up my shadows to where I like it. Maybe you need a little more contrast, a little sharpness, tad clarity. And that's really it. There's not much to do. That looks amazing, right? So what do I do to this one? It looks very close. I think this one has a tad more. What does it have differently? Saturation is what, 17? This guy, there's no saturation. Look at that. So this is what I love about these files, man. They look so good. So if you want to do a little more saturation, you don't have to do much, man. You can do 7 or 8, even 6. It looks great. So you want to crop this, hit your C button for crop. Maybe you want to do a funky cool crop. Hit V. Or bring that guy up. Let's see more of the moss. Love, love, love. Isn't that cool? That is your basics. So coming over here, let's go serious basics now. Okay. Your contrast. I need you to understand what contrast does. Okay. It takes out all of your, it takes your blacks and your midtones and your whites. It's almost like it flattens it. It just goes gray. It looks terrible. And then, of course, too much contrast can be way too much. Where I love messing with contrast a lot is on my black and whites because I just love super contrasty black and whites. Watch. Saturation's gone, right? Let's do a different crop. Okay. So love this. Let's take the whites. Let's bring the whites up a little bit. Take the contrast. Let's take the blacks and go down. Make them darker. And do I need shadows up a pinch? Now, here's the cool thing with the clarity. I love the image as it is. It's on natural right now, but you could do punch and it just tweaks it more than you need it to. Punch a lot of times is way too much, which is why I just do classic because you saw what it did with the whites right here. Watch this. Punch. Keep your eyes on the hands. Pay attention in this area, in this area. Keep your eyes on our hands. Ready? Classic. You saw that difference of the lighter background. It doesn't collapse the midtones and the blacks as much as punch does. Isn't that cool? So the best thing for you to do, honestly, is to play with these things one section at a time. Don't get scared looking at this whole, slew of levers that you can do. Stick to one thing first. Reset. Okay? Let's crop it. Okay. So starting from scratch, what's the first thing that we want to do? Let's mess with exposure first. What happens when I raise it up? It's like, okay, I like that, but man, it just doesn't look, the contrast is terrible. It looks very gray, looks milky. So how do we fix that? Well, take your contrast. Let's add some contrast first. And usually when I add a good amount of contrast, it snaps the picture in, but I can also take the exposure and come down a pinch. Okay. Your brightness, your brightness, brightness is hard to explain because it's not exposure. It's like your mid-tone brightness. It's kind of like taking levels and taking your mids and your whites all at one time. That's what kind of what brightness is. I don't mess with brightness a whole lot because it messes with too much. That's the best way to put it. Messes with too much. And of course, saturation. So I go to where it's disgusting and then go down. And you can tell when you're looking at the greens in her face, you can tell when it starts looking natural. And it's like, okay, well, that looks gray. Let me come up a little pinch. And then you look down, you're like, holy cow, I just added 13% saturation. That's incredible. I wouldn't have thought that. But sometimes you have to do that grade and play with your sliders and kind of get used to how far you're really having to do this stuff. So if you want to stop here, you could stop here. What I wanted to do with the whites in the sky and all is you go to your high dynamic range where it says highlight, bring them down. And what that does, watch this, watch your whites. See around here? Watch, keep your eyes right there for a minute. Isn't that cool? It knocks that bright glare down. Man, I'm starting to sound like I need like a gallon of water. So of course I don't want them all the way down, but you see, watch, keep your eyes right here. Watch the white flare. See how it flares? Come down, come down, come down, come down. So all the way out, flares all the way down, flares all the way down. So the thing about the highlight, it also messes with everything, all of your highlights, even your skin tones and your clothes. So you have to watch that. Okay. So let's say we're going to keep it here. Can I show you a little trick? Let me show you a little trick. This is new. Go to this folder right here. Or do you? Sorry, go to this folder. Your little graph looking thing. Looks like a little folder. By levels, by layers. Okay, layers. And then you're going to see these little brushes right here. Okay, the magic brush. Click on it. The magic brush is a masking tool, but it's an AI masking tool in the sense that when you press your button down and you hold it and you drag it, and what's going to happen when you let go, it's going to automatically mask things in the image of that same contrast and brightness and tone. Ready? I'm going to let go. Now I'm going to press it again just so I can see where. It did all of that for me. So obviously, I don't want everything done, but let me show you something. Now, this is adjustment layer 1. It made the layer for you. Okay? That's already a layer. So the background is your original image. The layer now is going to be the tweak we're going to do. So now watch this. Let's go back to here. Let's just do this so you can see. Okay? That's my exposure. That's my highlights. That's contrast. Bring it down. Maybe a little less saturation so it doesn't compete with her. And shadows. Let's bring the shadows way down. Okay, so watch this. So say you love what it did here, but you obviously you want it off of maybe her clothes. Because where is it again? I'm pressing on it, y'all. I'm pressing the button so I can see my mask. Okay. So if you didn't want it down here because it's way too gray, click this guy right there, erase mask, and literally you erase the mask. Now, this is where things can get time consuming and tedious depending on what you want to do to an image. But all of you landscape photographers out there, this is your dream, dear Lord. This will save you so much time. Let's say I wanted her shirt to pop a little bit. I don't want it to be flat looking. I'm lowering my size. See the difference of what it did to her shirt? And her hair? She ain't gonna like that. Okay, same thing for her. You get the idea. So you decide where you want this to be. Booyah. So now you have a layer that you can completely tweak by itself, and it did not affect the girls. Isn't that cool? All right, I'm going to go back to. Let me see who's in here. Dang, I like your new channel, dude. So who is here? All right, so I'm going to call that a night, and we're going to finish on that part of it, it's a lot to digest, and that's just the beginning basics. Replay this video over and over again if you need to, because how you access your folders, how you export your images, and then your simple basic tweaks is all right here. Every image is going to be different. Um, you're still here? I'm glad you are, Rob. Hold on. Just for you, buddy. I'm going to go grab one more. Hold on. Let me show you some shots I did at the Sugar Bowl that I can't really show off. Game day GK. Do I want to show you. That's the whole game day. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. Go to G-Man. Go desktop. Go to Sugar Bowl. Okay, these are the ones that I selected. This is that 100 to 400 lens that I rented. Oh, look at this shot, y'all. Look at this. How cool is this? Your boy right here is jumping over this dude on the ground. He's looking like through his legs to watch this guy going for the touchdown. Me and like two other photographers were at this end zone because they intercepted the ball or it was a fumble. So everybody was on the other side of the field. So me and a videographer was in the end zone on this side, and they're going down the field the other way. We're getting our shots, and I'm like, man, I just feel like a big play is going to happen. And I swear to you, this was the next play, and it was the coolest thing ever. Look at her. Hold on, where's my mouse? She's like, oh my god, isn't that cool? Awesome stuff. Let me show you. The Gatorade pour. So this coach was super cool, but he's a very stoic kind of a person. Like that's his look all the time. So he's watching the clock. Everybody knows that, they won the game. He's waiting for the clock. Boom, the game's over. He's walking away. The guys are like, we're getting him. And I'm on the end zone, dude. They're by the 20-yard line on the other side of the field. And this is what that lens got me from the end zone on the other side of the field. He's like, "Argh." And like, come on, coach. And it's happened so fast, right? It's like, but that's just crazy cool. Crazy cool. Just for you, Rob. I had to show you that. What's another one I wanted to show you? No. Yeah, look at this. Look how beautiful this is. I'm trying to see what am I trying to show you. I mean, come on. Is that gorgeous? Gorgeous. 100% natural light too. Natural light, no strobes, no flash. I always love flare. That's super cool. And this guy is amazing, man. His name's John. He's been a client for a very long time, and I haven't seen him in a while, so I gave him a big old hug when I saw him. Look how beautiful this is. Now, let me show you something. There is a reason why I'm showing you this, okay? Adjustments. Oh, I can't do reset. These are the JPEGs. These aren't the RAWs. Oh, darn it. I want to show you the RAWs. Those are JPEGs. There we go. Found them. Okay, let me show you this. Love, 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 love this shot. So, Rob, really quick, just a quick photography class for you. My son is up here behind him. Okay. That's his rim light that's coming from behind. That's just the sun. I'm shooting into that area. So I don't use the sun to hit his face directly. I like it to sculpt around the body. See that rim light on the jacket? It makes people's jawlines look awesome, having that rim light. So when you're in the shadows, watch this reset. This is what was out the camera. If you shoot JPEG, this is what your JPEG looks like. Now you can tweak your colors and stuff in your camera, so they'll look a little bit better. But my point is, that's JPEG. This is me messing with the raw, doing exact same stuff I just showed y'all. A little exposure, -1 on the contrast, up the saturation, brought my highlights down because I didn't want that kind of a glow happening. I wanted it down. It even affects his whites on his shirt. Shadows. You see his jacket? I went up until I can see a lot of his jacket and then come down. You gotta do that's kind of why they call them sliders, honestly. They call these things sliders because you need to kind of slide up and down and use your eyes and stare at the image and, let it fall in a spot that your eyes like what you see. That's the best way I can put it. It's the best way to learn. And once you understand the difference of this section and this section, you're fine. And again, just start here first and just tell yourself high dynamic range, highlights. Okay, my sky is crazy. Let me bring it down. You'll do that for a while before you mess with these. Now, my blacks are actually up, and this messes just with the blacks. Okay, the difference of the blacks in the shadows is, see right here in the trees and all, the shadows are the entire image. Okay, where the blacks only mess with what is black in an image. Isn't that cool? All right, Rob, I think it's time for me to go to bed. Oh my gosh. Um, this was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but I'm glad I did it. I'm glad it's going to get saved. If you're watching this on the replay, um, in the comments on YouTube, let us know how it helped you. Like, where did it help you? If you have any questions or help that you may need in the future, let me know. It kind of gives me some topics to stick to when I do another live stream, which I'm doing many live streams this year because it's easier for me than editing videos to post. It just is. I'm just getting. I'm blessed to be busy. This year seems to be coming back. Rob, I heard you guys are finally somewhat out of isolation. Yeah, you guys are shut down for like 3 months again. That's insane, man. Rob is in Australia, by the way. Again, go check out his YouTube channel, Final Down Under. And my boy Daniel is in here. I fix Shet, Shet. That is funny. Um, Daniel's a great guy, man. He's over there in Florida. So, all right, I am out of here. I will see you maybe tomorrow. Actually, I may do something during the day tomorrow because I have some time. And that's it. I am out of here. Peace. Stay focused on your dreams. And I'm going to end this broadcast.